You have to fall in love with the work, and you have to be willing to put it in and grind and do it from a place of service. And so this one, let's get into this now, is going to be talking about the activities. I'm not going to go into the mindset stuff as much in this video, but we're going to talk about the actual activities that you need to be focused on a week-to-week basis. Hey, what's going on, cash flow hackers? It's Chris, LIFE180, and for this video, we're going to be continuing the series that I've been doing. I guess it's not really a series, but talking about how to be more successful as a life insurance agent. I spent some time over the past several weeks really giving a lot of reflection to the fact that 92% of life insurance agents are failing in the first 3 years. I don't think it needs to be that way. I've really spent some time putting together some content, putting some stuff together for the agents on my team, trying to add as much value to them, help them have clarity about how to increase their likelihood of success. Obviously, with any industry where you have an 8% success rate after 3 years, I'm never going to be able to come up with anything that's going to help everybody. But what I've kind of come up with in a lot of different ways is just coming up with a system and a process and thoughts and mindsets and execution and activities that you can actually implement on your own that are going to increase your chances of success. And I truly, truly believe that the only way that you're going to be successful in this business is if you come at it from a place of service and stop acting like this is a commodity. Life insurance, whether it's a term policy, whether it's a infinite banking policy, it's never a need-based product. And as soon as you get into a need-based product, you kind of fall into the I guess area of like auto insurance, where everybody needs auto insurance, but anything you need is easily commoditized, right? And if it's commoditized, it's harder to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. When you come at this from a perspective and you realize that, make no mistake about it, life insurance is an emotionally based product. It is not a need product, it's a want product. And as soon as you understand that, you can actually show up differently. And when you realize that as a fixed insurance agent, maybe you have your equities license, Series 6, Series 7, and all the other things that go with it, 65 and all that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't, just having your insurance license and the ability to sell fixed products to people, it's important to understand that while no product is going to solve people's problems, you have a lot of tools at your disposal to be able to help serve people, identify what their challenges are, offer solutions. And when you understand what those products are and all the different problems that they can solve, now you get to go around and just serve people, have great conversations with people. And when you have those conversations, it's not about pitching or selling or pushing anything. It's about connecting with people, identifying challenges, having good, authentic conversations with people, and then knowing where your products actually can fit and plug the holes and serve people and help them reach their objectives and their goals. As soon as this becomes about you making a commission, selling anything or anything of that nature, it cannot be about you. As soon as it is about you, you're dead. You're dead in the water. You're never gonna take that relationship to the next level as far as them becoming a client, right? And you being able to be an advisor for them, right? Like that is an important thing. Like they have to look at you as somebody that they trust to be able to advise them on one of the most important things in their life, which is their finances. Now, that said, I've got other videos about a lot of that stuff. This video, what I want to do is I think it's important that you spend time focusing on activity, right? We can't track the actual results. I mean, we can. There's a scoreboard. We'll get to that. But you can't control the results. I guess I should have said that. You can't control the results that you have. But what I'm a big believer is input and output. The results are just the output. The input is the activity that you have absolute 100% control of. And when we talk about 8% of people succeeding, I believe that 8% of people are succeeding and not a higher percentage because of the fact that people are not focused in the right areas. They're not focusing their activities in the right areas. And a lot of times people just get comfortable in the areas and we're just trying to get ready and we want to learn and we want to master all these things. And it's got to be a balance of a lot of different activities for you to be a well-rounded individual, to have the right activities, get in front of the right people, and you got to have a metric that you follow. And so what I did is I actually created, and it's actually in print right now. I'm super excited about it. So if everybody's not aware of this, I launched my book, Cash Flow Hacking, back in February. That was fantastic. And so, and that was geared for a lot of real estate investors. I've got Cash Flow Hacking 2.0 coming out, and I'm working on getting that done by the end of this year. I've been spending a lot of time on it. Actually spent about a week last week up in the mountains just working on the manuscript, rewriting that entire book. But then in the meantime, I've also put together what is probably one of the more exciting things that I've done, for me at least, is the LIFE180 Agent Success Planner. This is actually in print right now. Unfortunately, it's taking a little longer because of supply chain issues to get them printed in bulk. And over here, sadly, you have to use China. You have to go overseas to do this, because printing them on shore here is just astronomically expensive, comparatively speaking. And the supply chain getting everything over there is taking a while. But what I wanted to do in this video is share some of the stuff that I have in the Agent Success Planner on activities and focused activity, because once again, that is the input that you put into day in, day out, how you're going to operate your business, how you're going to show up, what activities you're going to focus on to be able to be successful. And so in this video, I want to go through those activities, not only what the activities are, but a point system, and teach you the point system that I teach in the LIFE180 Agent Success Planner. And then obviously, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell, that way you're notified. And if you want, go down, you can opt in. I'm going to put a link that you can opt into, and you can actually, I'll put a text link down below that you can text 26786. And when you do that, it'll opt you in. That way, when the Agent Planner is available, I'll send you a text message that lets you know it's available. And if you want to get a copy of it, I'd be honored and blessed if you would support the channel and support yourself as an agent to be able to be more effective and have this planner, whether you run a team, whether you're building your own business, or being an agent on your own. I really truly believe that this planner would be massively impactful for any single person who is in the life insurance business, and will help you show up differently with your clients in the way that you kind of view your business. Because it's not just about activity. I'm going to talk about the activity today, but there's also morning mindset stuff, activity stuff, how you frame, how you want to show up differently for your clients. There's evening reflections. There's all sorts of different stuff, and just different, once again, measurements about what are you focused on, and how do you assign like a scoreboard to it? How do you assign a scoring system like any game? Because make no mistake about it, the money game, the life insurance game, when you're building a business, you have to gamify things. I truly believe that you have to gamify all this. You have to make it fun. You have to fall in love with the work, and you have to be willing to put it in and grind and do it from a place of service. And so this one, let's get into this now, is going to be talking about the activities. I'm not going to go into the mindset stuff as much in this video, but we're going to talk about the actual activities that you need to be focused on a week-to-week basis, a day-to-day basis, I guess, more than anything, to be able to be successful. So let's do this here. I'm going to get this green going so I can mark this up a little bit. So you can see life insurance agent activity here. And now what I've done here is I have a point system. Now, if you make an appointment, once again, I'm going to go through this. I'll list them out real quick, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about them a little bit. You can see you can make an appointment. That gets you 3 points. If you have a meeting and schedule a follow-up, that's worth 3 points. If you get a referral, that's worth 2 points. So when you're having these appointments and meetings, it's how to get a referral. Now, a lot of this stuff sounds very salesy. Now, if you're anything like me, you're not a big salesy kind of guy. You don't want to be a salesperson in the thing. You just want to go serve people. You want to get them. But the good news, you want to be able to help them. And the good news is, if you do these the right way, you're going to make the appointments authentically. You're going to have the meetings and schedule follow-ups with them. And then the referrals are just going to happen because people are going to become really connected. I'll say this: they become a fan of who you are. They become a fan of what you do. They become a fan because you actually added so much value into their life that they're going to look at the engagement with you, and they're going to be excited to refer people to you. It's just going to happen. And a lot of times you're not going to even have to ask for it. But there are ways to ask for it. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but just know that, because I know this whole concept of like getting referrals or asking for referrals is hard for some people, but I will tell you, it is a really, really key component to you running a successful life insurance business, right? Practice. And when you do it the right way, you're going to be able to do it from a place of authenticity without even feeling guilty about it and without feeling like you're asking for anything in the process. So taking the application, if you take a life insurance application, you can see it's worth 5 points. Placing a policy in force, worth 5 points. Attend a networking event, worth 2 points. And lunch with a prospect or client, it's worth 1 point. Interesting, right? I'm going to go into why this is all the way it is. And then you share resources with a prospect. I'm going to explain what I mean by that as we go through. That's actually worth 2 points if you do it in the way that I explain. I have this in here because in the Life 180 Agent Success Planner, one of the things it's designed for is for Life 180 agents on my team. Now, it's going to work for everybody, but we offer resources that Life 180 agents can share with prospects that probably aren't available to everybody else. And so sharing it with prospects, and I'll explain how that works, actually is worth points because it works. It converts, right? And then 1 hour of reading and education equals 1 point. And so here's the thing. The goal with all this is that you want to be able to track this and your activities, whether it's 3 points, 2 points, 5 points, 1 point, 2 point, whatever. The goal is on a daily basis, have 15 points, okay? So if on a daily basis you can hit 15 points, so we want to go daily, 15 points, and now you're never going to be perfect. So what does that mean? Weekly, if it's a 5-day work week, or if you did a 6-day work week, so weekly it would be 75 points if you're doing a 5-day work week, or 90 points if you really want to be an overachiever and do a 6-day work week. And it just depends on where you are in life, where you are as far as the desire to put that much time in. What I will say is that your success is going to be directly correlated to your ability to be consistent in following this process, right? Like, and to commit to doing these activities. These are the activities that are revenue producing activities, okay? I did a video the other day about the 4 things that you need to do to compress your time frame. I'll link it up above, but I'll give you the real summary here right now. And if you haven't seen this video, I would encourage go look at it. I'll also put the link in the description below, and I'll put it on the end screen. That way you can watch this video and you can make sure you see it. But the whole process that I think if you want to compress your time frame is find people on the same path as you, and then add value to them without any expectation of anything in return. Compress their time frame of knowledge, and then commit to networking and surrounding yourself with more people who are on the same path as you, right? Like network, attend events, that kind of thing. And if you do those 4 things, you as an agent are going to have way more success. I go into a lot of the detail. Like I said, go watch that video at the end of this. Don't skip this video because I'm going to get into a lot of stuff that after you watch this, that video is going to make a lot more sense. I think it's going to actually have more of an impact than it did initially. And if you did watch it already, I would say go watch it again, because after you watch this and you get through this and you understand this, you go watch that other content again, it's going to make a lot more sense, right? And so we'll go from there. Now, here's the deal. If we're talking about this point system right here, right? These points, this is what leads to revenue. Everything here is very, very focused on revenue producing activity. You make an appointment, that's obviously leading towards a potential sale. Now, you have to understand the inflow and outflow. How many appointments do you need to make for you to have a follow-up, and how many follow-ups do you need to make? How many appointments on average is it going to take for you to get an app and take an application and then get a policy in force? What is the time frame in which it takes to get through all that? But the bottom line is there's a lot of people that focus so much on education, right? This is one of the biggest things that I see that is the biggest challenge. A lot of times people will say, well, and here I want to say this before I go there. You cannot fill your calendar and fill your points need of 15 points daily on average. By the way, don't restrict yourself to 15 points. If you could do more than 15 points, God bless you. You're gonna crush it, right? And so, but what I will say is that if you are going after the 15 points, you can't do it all with just one topic, one concept. Like, you can't do 15 hours, obviously. I mean, I guess you could. You could study and watch videos for 15 hours a day. You're not going to do anything, though. You're not going to produce any revenue. Now, because the bottom line is that there's no money there. Now, this is what I find agents do more than anything is, unfortunately, they fall into this trap where they go, I just need to know more. I want to study more. I got news for you. Like, I feel like I make some really good content educating people. I've got my books. I've got stuff. I could direct you to some amazing content in books that other people have written that I think that made an impact in me, that would make a positive impact in you. I've done videos on talking about what those books are. But here's the deal. Like, you can't just get ready to get ready, and that's all studying is. There comes a point in time where there's practical application that you need to go out, and life doesn't exist on a spreadsheet. Life doesn't exist in books. You can only learn so much by reading. Getting out there and applying yourself and getting in front of people and having real conversations with people is the only way that you're really gonna grow and learn and become who you need to be able to serve people on a bigger level. And so don't fall into the trap that you can just do all one thing. Now, it's the same thing. Making appointments, 3 points per thing. If you have 5 appointments per day, maybe that's what your Mondays are all about, is you just want 5 appointments, 5 initial appointments, and it's 3 points each, and that's what you do, and that bangs that out for that time. But guess what? Then, if you have just making appointments, then, that's not gonna get you getting the business in, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we are getting referrals from people to get more appointments, that we're going to networking events, that we're taking prospects to lunch. And here's the deal. I want you to think about these point systems. And this is a reason that I put this point system in the Agent Success Planner, is because of the fact that they're really correlated. The 1 point for an hour of education. You need to educate yourself. You need to be committed to that, but that's not going to produce revenue. And so I want it worth less, right? Because it's not going to produce as much. 5 points for taking an application and 5 points for getting a policy enforced. I got news for you. If you're doing this, if you get to this place, you've done a lot of other things to get there, right? Like, those things are worth the most because they're actually creating revenue, right? That's what's happening for you. And so having a meeting and scheduling a follow-up, right? You make the appointment. Okay, if I call you and I say, hey, Sean, let's set up a call. Let's go out to lunch or whatever. We set it up. Okay, what does that mean? If I'm making, remember, this isn't having the appointment. The key here is I'm making the appointment. If I'm doing that, what am I doing? I'm having to call. I'm having to get on the phone and cold call and do activities that a lot of people want to avoid. So I'm calling up and I'm saying, hey, Sean, could I take you to lunch next week? Or could we have a conversation about what I'm doing? And I've got plenty of videos that talk about how to do that, like how to have those conversations. But that's what this is about, is doing that work that most people don't want to do. Every time you're successful and you set up an appointment, you make that appointment, it's worth 3 points. When you have the meeting and you schedule, remember, the key here is you have to schedule a follow-up after that, because it's no point in having a meeting unless you schedule a follow-up to figure out what is the next step. If you have the meeting and there's no follow-up scheduled, that means that meeting was a failure. And that means that's not worth points. So it's getting you always focused on where the revenue producing activity is, and that is in the follow-up. And so that is worth 3 points as well. When you get a referral, that, like I said, that will just happen. That's 2 points. When you take an application, it's 5. When you get the policy enforced, that's 5. Obviously, that's really revenue producing. Attending a networking event. A lot of people try to give themselves more points, and they feel like, hey, if I just go to this chamber event or go to this networking event, it's worth 2 points. Or it's worth like 20 points because I'm around all these people and I should just make things happen. Not worth anything, right? Go to the networking event, it's worth 2 points. If in that networking event you make 2 appointments, that's worth 3 points each, right? So you can make that networking event worth 8 points if you go and then you set up 2 appointments, right? That's worth 8 points. It's 3, 3, and 2, right? So now it's focusing on what those activities are. So it gives you a metric that when I go to that event, I need to make it worth more, right? And so you're gamifying this whole process, right? You need to make that networking event worth your time. I just spent thousands of dollars, weeks of my time going around paying money to go to different events. Now, not typical networking events, but make no mistake about it, I went there with a specific intent. I went there to build relationships and connect with people. And so just going to those events alone are not where the value is. I couldn't get what I needed done by attending those, or without attending those events. So there's value in going there, right? It's worth some points. It's worth some value, like, because I couldn't get what I wanted done had I not placed myself in those rooms. So you can't negate the fact that you need to do that, and that's why there's a point value associated with it. So I go and I get to the event, and then I get there. If I do nothing, all it did was cost me money and whatever. So I need to figure out, how do I monetize this? And the only way to monetize it is by creating appointments, getting follow-ups, getting referrals, creating joint venture partners, doing all these different things for what I do and for what you do as a regular, I don't want to say a regular agent, this sounds bad, but as a life insurance agent that's like going out to serve people, you probably measure your business a little differently than I do, but the bottom line is, it's not the event itself that makes a difference. It's what you do at the event. Getting yourself at the event, at the networking, at the meeting, whether it's a BNI group or whatever, the value of you being there is getting in front of people so you can get the other activity stacking on top of all that, right? So that's really important. Lunch with a prospect is another thing that I think, man, this is one of the most overplayed things in the world. I've seen agents go broke because they just are like, I'm going to coffee, I'm going to lunch, I'm taking my prospects out to lunch. Guess what? I got news for you. It's worth a point. Why? Because there's no leverage. It's you and the person one-to-one. The fact that you took them to lunch is worth a point because, once again, you need the activity. Now, if you took them to lunch and you talk to them about what you're doing and you share your story and you get them to buy into the fact that they believe you, they trust you, they want to hear more, and you make an appointment out of it, all of a sudden that lunch for 1 point becomes worth 4 points because 3 + 1 is 4. Mathematician here. So if you do that, right, like that is what it is. Like you got to focus. The value is not in the lunch. The value is what the purpose of the lunch is. And I've seen way too many people too many agents take too many prospects out to lunch and not get into anything, not be upfront, not go into the meeting with very, very specific intent about what the objective and why we're doing lunch, right? I'll buy you lunch, but I want to talk about, what I'm doing, and I want to share it with you. If it connects with you, then we can have a further conversation, right? If it doesn't connect with you, that's fine. Then it's worth 1 point, right? But once again, this point system gets you to focus on what are your habits, what are your activities, what's your mindset when you go into every activity to make sure that you are focusing on revenue producing activity. That is a big thing. Share resources with a prospect. All right, I said I would get here. So this is going to be different for everybody, depending on where you are, depending on who you work with. One of the things that we do at Life180 is I obviously, with this channel, have a lot of content, and there's content resources that you can share with people. Whether you work with us or not, you could share videos in a way that would help. But for our agents that work on the Life180 team, not only do they have access to this stuff, but I have other stuff that's not like public video that they can share resources with their clients. I have a whole affiliate program that we utilize to help our agents track and be able to utilize the marketing that we have to help them build their business. That's one of the biggest reasons that I do it. And so I wrote my book, Cash Flow Hacking. I have the Agent Success Planner. I got Cash Flow Hacking 2.0. We got my buddy Caleb Williams wrote the And Asset. We've got a whole process that we can utilize the And Asset with all of our agents. And we have a whole marketing funnel system that we control, that we manage, that serves all the agents on our team so they can utilize the marketing systems that we built. Because it's like, listen, I know most agents are not good marketers, so how do we help ease that pain for them? And the best way that I find is by helping get the education out to their clients in a way that they can track. And if it gets to the place where they can borrow the relationship, borrow the credibility through having connection with me and with Caleb and being able to offer the Cash Flow Hacking book and the And Asset book and be able to track it and know who's reading it, and now they can utilize it as a marketing tool. We manage it all for them. They share it out. And so what I have here is for every person, every agent on our team, and I have this in there for us, and you just kind of have to figure out if it makes sense to you in any way, shape, or form with what you do. But what I want to say is, once again, this activity is only worth the follow-up, right? So I have it so when they share the Cash Flow Hacking link or the And Asset book link, and with 5 people, it's worth 2 points. And the reason I say it's only worth 2 points is because even though they share it with 5 people, without the follow-up, without getting the appointment, without anything else, that's not really going to do anything. But think about it this way. If you went out and you took one day and you said, hey, I'm going to share this link with 25 people. Every 5 people is worth 2 points. right? So I want to get to 10 points in the week. I want 10 of my 75 or 90 points, 10 of those points to be sharing that link. And if you were to share a great book that was a free plus shipping offer and it didn't cost you anything as an agent, if you were to share that with 25 people and you're not able to get 5 appointments out of it with people over a period of time, now it may take a little time for them to get the book and read the book and whatever, and that's why you got to build a pipeline, and that's why you got to manage it, and that's what the importance of having the planner is. That's why I love having it. That's why I made it for people to be able to track. If you do that and you do it the right way, once again, I'm just talking about like for our agents, but you can have this sort of system in your own world as well. If you do this the right way, now you're putting yourself in a situation where you're controlling the revenue producing activities. You got to have the follow-up. You got to have a way to track it and reach out to people, set up the initial appointments, have the meeting. Ultimately, it will lead to applications. It'll lead to placing a policy in force. It'll lead to getting more referrals. So this 1-2 point activity of sending out to 5 people will end up leading potentially over time to probably 20 points worth of activity, right? But that's okay, right? Like it's just important to understand you are focusing on these revenue producing activities. And so that's where it all comes down to. And so at the end of the day, I would say, I don't care how many hours you work. I don't care how much time you put in. What I care about is how many points. I care about what you do, right? It doesn't matter how much time you put in if the amount of time you put in is not focused on anything that's going to be leading to revenue, anything that's going to be leading to serving people. And what I love about focusing on points is that you could show up, you could bang out points, you go play golf in the afternoon, you show up, bang out the points, go get on your boat for the afternoon, hang out with your kids, hang out with your wife or your spouse, do whatever you want to do, right? Like it gives you start to realize when you look at this from a point perspective, you realize, oh my gosh, this is not a hard business. It's not, it's simple. It's not easy, right? Like, because this is, anybody could do this. Anybody could follow these activities. You got to be willing to get out of here, get into here, start serving people. And when you think about it like that, the only reason you're not going to want to do these activities, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's probably your ego. It's probably your pride and worry of what you're going to look like or how you're going to come off or how people are going to like interpret what you're doing and what you're saying and what your intentions are and all that stuff. So I would say you got to work on that and make sure that you're coming from a place of authenticity. And when you do it and you focus on the right activities and you focus on, this is one of the reasons that in the planner, I don't just talk about the activities. The activities is just, this is the measuring tool, right? Like that's just a thing. But every day, how intentional are you being about what your day is like, who you want to serve? How intentionally are you being about what your activities are on the day? What are the big projects you're working on? What are the things that you need to do today? What are the things that you want to do over the next month? What are the things that you want to do over the next year? And how are you inching yourself and holding yourself accountable to accomplishing those things in a predictable manner, right? Like that's what it's all about. And so, you know, I like I said, I did this video the other day. One of the things that I'm really going to be doing a lot more content about is this stuff to help agents succeed more, because at the end of the day, I believe that we need more agents doing the right things. We need more whole life, infinite banking style agents, people who are out there being guides for people, guiding people to the process that down the road of reaching wealth, financial freedom, right? And having control of their time, because it's not just about getting rich, it's about having money and time and lifestyle and being able to show up differently in your community and your family and your kids and your wife and your spouse, like your husband, whatever. That's what it's all about. I don't care how much money you have. I worked at a company where people had plenty of money, were making gobs and gobs of money, but you know, they had horrible relationships with their kids, horrible relationships on their third marriages. And you know, to me, there was never going to be an amount of money that was going to make that worth it for me. And so that I came to that realization really, really quickly when I had my first kid. And when she was scared of me when I would get home from road trips, because I was on the road all the time. And I just came to the conclusion for me that $1 billion a year wasn't going to be worth not having a good relationship with my kids and my family. And so that's one of the things that really inspired this concept. I've taken a lot of my time to go and research the best of the best, what I feel, of different people, different planners, different organizations, different strategies, different focuses, and I've tried to amalgamate them all. Is that a word? To put them all together, right? and make it so your life could be easier as an agent, so you could be focusing on the things that are actually going to produce the results that you need to produce. And you know what? That's all I got for you this video. So hopefully you found value in that. If you have any questions, any comments, comment in the comment section below. If you want to reach out, if you're an agent, you have any questions, I can have you chat with one of the people on our team that can talk to you. You know, this isn't a big recruiting thing at all, but if you are an agent and you don't feel like you're getting the support that you need or want, we are, for the right people. We're being very, very selective about the people that we're taking to work on the Life 180 team. I'm very, very protective of the brand and the people that we work with. But if what I'm saying resonates with you and you really want to serve people, I would say go down in the link in the description below. You could set up a call with one of my business partners, and they will walk you through and kind of have an interview with you. You can go to life180.com too, and there's an agent interview button. You can go down there, click on that, and set up a call and see how it goes. But comment in the comment section below if you have any questions. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. And by all means, please share this video out. If you have a team, if you have agents, if you have anything that you think would benefit from understanding the importance of this, please share it out with people. And I know it will serve, and I know it will help people think about focusing more on the activity than the actual results. But when we focus on the right activity, the results are just going to happen. And that's the whole point. So anyway, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.